We are live. Hey, Mentees. This is the Uncanny Omar. And with me today, I have a very special guest. You guys have seen him on the show before. I'm actually pointing the right way, and that's this guy right here. That is Kurtis from the
Hi,
Epic Marvel podcast. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing just great. I'm really excited to be talking about this. I can't believe that I've been sitting on this information for like a week now, and it's so hard not to talk about it.
Right? Yeah, welcome to my world. But it's great, right? And then when people are like, please give us a hint, and I'm like, no, I really can't. And like, and the hype is so much more probably than the actual list, right?
Yeah,
Because and it's like that with everything, whether it's video games, whether whatever you're into, you get so hyped up for these new announcements, and then
yeah,
when it actually comes, you forget that high until the next list comes out, right?
that's right.
or
That's right.
until the actual books come out. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this live chat. Kurtis has been with me before. We've done some advanced solicitations. We've done some Epic talk, and he is from the Epic Marvel podcast. If you haven't checked that podcast out, you really need to, especially if this is your type of way of collecting comics. Um, I've already announced the Omnis and the reprints. Now it's the Epic, and on no, I'm going to announce the Masterworks are coming out for all of you that collect Masterworks. But that's going to be a contest, actually. On Saturday, I'm announcing it. It's Guess the 300th Marvel Masterwork. So I'll be
Wow,
giving away.
300.
Yeah, there's 300, right? So I'll be giving
Yep.
away some Omnis and some trade paper as a thank you all to our viewers. So that contest will go live on Saturday. So stay tuned for on this channel for that. So yes, Kurtis and I have been sitting on this for a little bit, and this is, I think, the best way to do it because what we have is a list. We've done this before where we had a list of sometimes it's a volume number, sometimes it was just a title. And that was what David was able to send us. So thank you, David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us this list again. This
Yes,
is a lot of
thank
fun
you.
because we get to map it out. We're like, how would we do this? And then Kurtis and I get into an argument. Oh, what was it the last time? Was it Wolverine or X-Man? You were asking me about
Yeah, there
you
was
were
some
it was
controversy. Yeah,
the orphaned issue, and I'm like, no, wait, that's been collected. But I'm glad he's
that's
here.
right.
This guy is a walking encyclopedia of Marvel epics, and I can't think of a better co-host right now. So let's get started. We have 11 epic collections we're going to announce, and then there are 4 complete collections that they just threw at us, and we'd be like, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about those too. So Kurtis has the list. So why don't you kick it off, Kurtis, while I pull up my list, which is the same list you have.
Okay, so I figure that we're going to start. We'll get the complete collections out of the way first. We have 4 complete collections to talk about, and then we'll move on to 11 epics. And I've ordered them in the order of what I think is kind of the most exciting to me, and I hope that you'll agree. You know, everyone has their own preferences, of course, but we're going to start off with something that's very predictable. Every October, Marvel likes to print some of their more horror-themed books, whether it's epic collections or complete collections. And so we are going to get, of course, Tomb of Dracula, Volume 4, the complete collection, Volume 4. A predictable one.
I'm glad that we're getting that because I passed up on all those Omnis and now I'm regretting it. And I'm like, oh, there's got to be a reprint, but we didn't get it. That's one of my Tomb of Dracula volumes 2 and 3 of the Omnis are my most some of my most wanted Omnis. So reprints, but we didn't get them. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll keep getting them. Now, one other thing is that this list is also not final. Like, we're not going to be talking about reprints, right, but those are coming, and the complete collections, there are going to be more than just 4. So don't worry about that. Just keep that in mind. I'll have the advanced solicit sometime probably in the next week or so. So I'll do another live episode with that. So, all right, my man, let's do another one.
Okay. Should we talk about Thor? You want to talk about Thor?
Yeah. So this one was pretty interesting because both Kurtis and I looked at it, and this is Thor: The Eternal Saga complete collection. Now, when we looked,
an epic collection.
Not an epic collection, correct. So when we looked at it, I emailed David, and then you asked me the same thing. Why isn't this an epic? And then I was like, wait, I don't think it's mapped right. because I don't think it would match up to that Eternal Saga, because the Eternal Saga doesn't happen. I guess it wouldn't happen for another 2 or 3 more epics. So it's a complete collection. So keep that in mind.
So there was an old set of trades, the Eternal Saga trades. It was in 2 volumes, and the volume 1 was 283 to 291, and volume 2 was 292 to 301. That's pretty much epic size right there. This is going to be an epic size Thor complete collection, which is too bad. I'd rather have Thor volume 10 or whatever this was going to be, but they decided to do it this way.
Well, movie, right? Eternal.
Yes.
So Eternals. Yep. This is the Jack Kirby stuff. I think it's been collected before in trade paperback format.
Yep.
2 trades, as a matter of fact, but this will be an all-in-one. So
well, I mean, and it'll come eventually in the Epic Collections, because the Epic Collection will be covering this material at some point. We just have to wait a little bit longer, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This next one I'm very excited about. I don't know about you, but as a completist, these kind of things make me excited. So we had the Kurt Busiek Iron Man run, and then we had the Joe Quesada Iron Man run. But we've never had any of the stuff in between that and then the Warren Ellis run, which is the Mike Grell run, right? So, coming the 4th quarter, we're going to get the Iron Man by Mike Grell complete collection.
And so I'm guessing that if you are following the Iron Man Heroes Return trades that are coming out, the first volume's only come out. Hopefully the second volume will come out at some point. I'm guessing that the Mike Grell complete collection will butt up nicely against where they're going to stop with the Heroes Return Iron Man trades.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then that also, there's also more uncollected material after Mike Grell that needs to be collected at some point too, right?
Yes. Not that much, but yes, some. Mm-hmm. I believe, was it Kias and Mio was drawing stuff then? They had they were trying out new things, like a Japanese artist coming over to America. Right. So it's pretty cool. I do not lose my powers when I shave. But I had to shave. My wife told me to. So I was like, all right, because we went to Florida. So I was like, okay, nice. You're right. I want to shave. All right. And we have one more complete collection. Again, like I said, this isn't all of them. This is just what Marvel gave us. So just keep that in mind. And don't kill the messengers. What are you holding up, Kurtis?
This is Man-Thing, by Steve Gerber, the Complete Collection Volume 1. Here's the Complete Collection Volume 2. Do you know what we're missing from this set here? We're missing Volume 3. What could be done about that, Omar?
Well, we can announce it right now, because that's what we're getting. We're gonna get Man-Thing Volume 3. How long has it been between Epic Volume or Complete Collection Volume 2 and Complete Collection Volume 3?
That's a great question. Let me just have a look here.
It's been a while. I have the Omni, so I didn't keep up with those, but I want to say it's been at least over a year.
It's 2016. It's been 4 years. This is going on 4 years here.
There you go.
It's high time that we're getting Man-Thing, the Complete Collection Volume 3. Really great stuff.
Yeah, so there you go, guys.
My question for this one is the Gerber run, the initial Man-Thing series ends with issue 22. So this volume will have issues 19 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Gerber also did a Man-Thing Marvel Comics Presents story from number 1 to 12. They're 8 pages each. And then he also did a Man-Thing miniseries called Infernal Man-Thing that was published after he passed away in 2012. All of that could be included in here. My question is, are they also going to include Man-Thing Volume 2, which was 11 issues, and it was by Michael Fleischer. It was not by Steve Gerber.
Just to put it in there? You mean put it in there?
Just because it needs a home, and otherwise this volume will be really, really thin compared to the other 2 volumes.
I would think so.
I would hope so.
I mean, if you're gonna go ahead and do something like that, you might as well put the 2, or otherwise you're gonna have 2 orphaned issues, right? Yeah, I didn't know about that series that he did after he passed away, because I know at the time he was working on DC's. Oh, what was it? Not Day of Judgment. He had a series at DC that he was working on, something from Hell. I'm sure somebody can tell me in the chat. where he didn't get to finish it. So like other writers came in and he was in the middle of writing that. Somebody asked something, Omar, what years were those Iron Man by Mike Grell? Those were early aughts. I want to say like 2001, 2002, probably more like 2002 when those came out, because they came out right after the Joe Quesada stuff.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
No epics announced yet.
Not yet.
So a quick recap: the 4 complete collections we've announced so far. It's Iron Man by Mike Grell complete collection, Man-Thing Volume 3 complete collection.
I
can look at it.
You froze up on me, Omar. Are you still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I did that last night too. I don't know why. So the 4, I was doing a quick recap. The 4 epic collections that we did were Man-Thing Volume 3, Iron Man by Mike Grell complete collection, and then what were the other ones that we did?
Thor, Dracula,
Thor, Saga,
Iron Man,
and Tomb of Dracula.
Yeah,
there we go. Okay. Okay. I promise, no more freezing.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay, yeah, you got it. You carry the show. You're good.
Before we move on, I want to thank everybody. If you are not part of my Epic Collection Facebook group, I encourage you to join us. I am 2 members shy of being 500 members on the Facebook group. Just search for Epic Collections there. And what we did recently was we did a little email campaign to David Gabriel. We asked him, can you please change the Conan, the Marvel Years Complete Collection to Epic Collection? And I listed a variety of reasons. One is that when you have a series of 275 issues, you don't have to go in order. It's going to take forever for us to get to those last issues there, and just fatten up the trades a little bit, so you don't have to stick to like 13 issues. And you know what? He listened to us. And Omar, I know you put in your good word as well with him.
Well, he was confused. He was like, because I didn't know you guys had done that. So when I asked him, he's like, "Did you give my?" Like, no. He's like, well, it is public knowledge, but still, I just got a bunch of emails about this book, and I'm like, no, I didn't know anything about that. So there you go.
Yeah.
You guys bugging the hell out of him apparently worked.
It did, and so now it's been resolicited now on the Hachette catalog as Conan, the Marvel Years Epic Collection, and so we're very, very thrilled for that. And that leads us into our very first epic announcement, which
Wait,
is going
segue. Good segue. Good
segue. Conan, the Marvel Years Volume 2, Epic Collection Volume 2 is coming out in the last quarter of 2020.
Yeah, so we don't have any content. We don't have the page count, and some of these we don't even have the title for. We just have a volume number. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So this is where the fun begins. It's like, where would you put that? I think Volume 1 was just changed recently, wasn't it? Like in the...
It was, but they haven't given any content changes.
Right.
So... okay, hold on. My daughter's talking to me. I can't do that right now, so you're going to have to ask Peter or Mila to help you out, okay?
But they're pre-diet.
You have to ask them to help you out, okay? Okay, just a second here. Let's see. They haven't changed the contents of Volume 1, so I really don't know I can't even guess what Volume 2 is going to be based on that. I'm hoping that they change the contents to Volume 1 to add in more issues, so it's not just issues 1 to 13.
I remember when you asked, when you and I talked about that, you were worried that it wasn't going to be enough issues, and Conan is huge, so it would take a ton
long time.
Epic collections for that to finish, and especially if they're releasing them to a year. Now with Omnis, even with Omnis releasing to a year, it's going to take a long time if they plan on following through with the whole thing, which would be freaking amazing. So
yeah, really would.
So I guess we'll figure.
Stop that, please.
No, she's fine. That's cute. How old is she?
She's 4.
Oh, I remember those years.
Yeah.
I remember those years. They're great. Smart all you've missed so far are the 4 complete collections, and one of the epics, which was the Conan the Barbarian, the Marvel Years Epic Collection Volume 2. And after the episode, I know Kurtis is going to post it on his Epic Collection Marvel Epic Podcast Facebook group, and I'll be posting it on the Near Mint Condition group too. So just
Perfect.
so you all know. And all right. So moving on to the next Epic Collection.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a bunch of X books that are. Sorry, I keep getting little stuffies in front of my screen here. We have some X books to talk about. The first one we could talk about is X Force. I know that the X Force is on the fence of whether or not you really care about the 90s stuff here, but we are going to get X Force Volume 3.
Right. So that will happen after the events of Executioner's Song. So everything after issue number, I believe, like issue 19 is where it ended. So it'll be issue 20.
It'll be
and
issue
moving
20,
forward.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for people that don't, because there are people that only get epic formats. And that's why I love doing shows like this, because I love epic collections too. I'm not just an omnibus guy. I mean, the omnibus format is my book, the way that I love collecting these. But the epic format are so much more affordable. And, there's so much more of the content. And I don't know if everything will be collected in omnibus format, but you can rest assured everything will be collected in Epic Collection one day.
So I kind of wonder. I was trying to think about what the mapping of this would be. I wonder how far the X Force Epic Collections will go, because Marvel's been releasing these big fat trades that are Cable and X Force Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're combining the two titles together. And the Executioner's Song Epic Collection had the 2-issue Cable miniseries. What is that one called? Blood and whatever.
Blood and Metal? Not
Blood
whatever. Blood and Metal, man.
So, but I know that one informs a lot of what happens in Executioner's Song, so it makes sense to put that in there. But what are they going to include the Cable issues in the X-Force Epic Collections? They could, and then they could butt up right where the X-Force and Cable Classic collections start, and then those could move forward from there.
Well, the Cable collections, the Cable Classics, those have been replaced by the Omnis, right? Like the original 3 Cable Classics. And then they have the big fat trades of Cable and X-Force, which were originally solicited as Cable Classics Volume 4. So now we have Cable and X-Force Classics Volume 1, Cable and X-Force Onslaught Rising, and then Cable and X-Force Onslaught. But then we jump onto Cable and Nemesis. So we don't have anything after Onslaught.
Yeah, because the paths diverge and Cable doesn't become the Cable leaves the team at that point, right?
Yes, and they go their own, and somebody
go their own way.
Something amazing that I would love for them to collect. Where is it? Oh, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Okay, so this right here, I would love the road trip era. That was one of the best eras of X-Force. But it looks like, there's a few titles that they decide to do in chronological order, and for some reason with X-Force, that's what they've been trying to do, because they did Under the Gun, and then they did Executioner's Song, and now we're getting Volume 3, which doesn't have a title yet. It's just called Volume 3. That's all we know.
So, but in the Omni as well, X-Force and Cable were all collected together in both of those Omnis, the X-Force and Deadpool 1 and the X-Force and Cable 1. They're all collected together. So I don't know what their plan is. We'll get in a few weeks. We'll know the content. I don't even know when we'll know the contents, in a couple months maybe.
Yeah,
but that's that.
We'll see. We'll see. It's interesting the way that they're mapping it, but rest assured they have an end game, right? Like they know what they're doing. It's not like they're just playing, oh, let's just go ahead and throw these issues in there and then we'll collect this and nobody will notice. They know that we notice. That's the beauty of like Marvel comics, like the Epic collections and big oversized hardcover collections. Is that they know that we keep an eye on these things and we're all nerdy about it. Like, hey, they left out 2 issues of Venom. Let's go back and put them in there. These nerds are going to yell at us.
And
that's exactly what they did, man. I love it. So getting advanced solicitation sometimes helps too. Like, because I think they had the wrong solicitation for one of the Thor oversized hardcovers. So let's move on to... Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't follow my. I gave you an order in which I wanted to talk about these, and I didn't follow my order. Saying
Dude,
X-Force there.
that's the way I
Doesn't
live
matter though.
that's how I live
Yep.
my life. I don't have an order of anything. Like I just
Yep.
swing it. So
Okay, so let's going back to what my order was here. I want to just mention that we're going to see Master of Kung Fu Epic Collection Volume 3. No, Volume 3? Volume 4. Right? What is it? I can't even remember now. What did I...
You wrote it down, didn't you?
I wrote it down. Volume
Kurtis,
3.
you had one job. It is Volume 3.
It's called... they gave us the title for this one, Master of Kung Fu Traitors to the Crown. And that is issue number 72 of Master of Kung Fu. So this is going to cover the first part of the Mike Zeck era, when Mike Zeck took over the art duties after Paul Gulacy left the title. It'll probably also include annual number 1, and I'm hoping that it'll also include What If number 16,
which was left out of the What If complete collections.
It was left out of the complete collections.
I remember that was one of the very first conversation I had with David was talking about that particular issue. And it was him that brought it up. He was like, apparently they had some kind of temporary license for that issue to be printed in the Omni, right? But maybe not in the What If. So I don't know. And I don't know how that will affect the Epic collection, right? So
that is a real shame.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I guess we'll find out, like you said, soon.
Yep. So that's cool. My guess would be that it takes us up to issue 74, 75, as that's kind of the end of a multi-part story.
And man, they're releasing those once a year, I think.
They are once a year. They typically, it looks like they're actually going about every 14 months or so. And my guess is that if I had to guess, I'd say we'd probably get another Master of Kung Fu Epic Collection maybe around March or April next year, because the movie's coming out in February of 2021. So then if we have an Epic Collection around March or April, that gives us one slightly before the movie, and one slightly after the movie, which is what they did for Ms. Marvel. It's what they did for Black Widow, and they could easily do that for Shang-Chi as well.
Yeah, and those because those Omnis were a once in a lifetime deal.
Yep.
Meaning that once they were sold out, they were gone because they swore never going to reprint them.
Yeah.
And I hope that's not the case with Conan, because that volume 1 is out of print of the omnibus. And I've had people ask me, and I'm like, I really don't know.
Well, I think that Marvel has probably a different deal with the Conan people than they do with the Master Kung Fu people, or the Romer estate, because they're actually doing new material with Conan. Marvel can do whatever they want with Shang-Chi because that's their original character, but with Conan, it's a completely different situation. So I'm sure that the licensing agreement is way, way different.
Well, they are going to be living it up because they're also giving us the Conan, what's it called? The Kurt Busiek run in Omni format. So that's kind of cool. Okay.
Totally.
Where are we at? Are we going back to your list, or are we swinging it?
We could go back to the list. So one of the biggest questions of 2020.
Yes, I got bombarded. Like, I got cursed at for this. I'll never forget that. Somebody was mad in one of the comments and going off about this.
What did they say?
Well, I don't remember who this was. I'm not, and even if I did, I wouldn't call anybody out. But they were like, "What the F is wrong with Marvel? They are never going to give us a Hulk Epic Collection because they're doing those stupid ass Peter David Hulk Omnis. We're not going to get anything. Thanks, Omar." I'm like, I don't work for Marvel, dude. Why'd you just curse me out?
So, if you haven't guessed by now, we're talking about the Incredible Hulk. We haven't had an Epic Collection announced yet for this year, but we are going to get Incredible Hulk Volume 5. Now, this is called Who Will Judge the Hulk? And that is issue number 152. So this clearly makes this one Volume 5.
I see some Instagram followers over there. What's up, everybody? I see you, Mutant Menace. And I saw my boy from Planet X-Man over there, too. Sorry. But yes, I figured it would be Volume 5. We didn't have the volume, but I think it's going to be Volume 5. We just had the title. So...
And this is the end of Roy Thomas's run on the title. I would imagine that they'll probably stick the short Archie Goodwin run in there as well. It might take us to maybe around issue number 156 and a couple of annuals. And there's a little crossover story with Avengers in issue number 88 as well. So that's what's in the Masterworks as well. So it makes sense if they followed that pattern.
Awesome. So I'm glad. There you go. Whoever that was yelling at me, there is your Hulk or Epic collection.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. But I guess if you need somebody to yell at me. It's fine. I'm used to it. I get yelled at home all the time. Okay. Now let's go back and let's see. Okay. This one's pretty cool because we haven't had one of these in years. At least from what I remember, we've only had 2 epics of this character, if I'm not mistaken.
There was a big gap between Epic number 1 and Epic number 2. Epic 2 actually came out early last year, or
was it last year?
2019. So
maybe I was mistaken. So there was a big gap. Long.
But the big question is, was there going to be a volume 3? We didn't know. We weren't entirely sure, but now we have definitive proof that there will be a volume 3. What is it, Omar?
It is the Black Panther Epic Collection, Panther's Prey. And I want to say that wasn't that the Don McGregor story, Panther's Prey?
Yes.
So we're looking at early 90s Black Panther now. I think it's when that originally came out.
My guess is that they're also going to include Don McGregor's Marvel Comics Presents story, Panther's Quest, which was in the 80s. That one was 1989.
Yeah, so it'll be probably 89, 90, something like that. Yep. So Black Panther is getting one. Smash that like button, Minties. Thank you, Josh, my buddy Josh, for reminding people. Thank you. So yes, now we're going to get a volume 3 of Black Panther. One of the first questions I remember asking David on the phone is like, why didn't we get a Black Panther omnibus when the movie came out? And I can't remember what he said, but I'm pretty much the way he answered was, we're definitely going to get an omnibus when the second movie comes out. They missed out on the first one, but he's like, we'll definitely get one. I say we'll get 2 omnis out of Black Panther when that second movie drops.
Yep. I think they just underestimated how well that movie was going to do. They really did. But as far as this Epic collection is concerned, actually, when the movie came out, there was a Panther's Quest trade that was released that collected all those Marvel Comics Presents. Right. And that made me wonder if they were going to go this far for the Epic collections, but it looks like they are going to do it. And that probably will take us all the way to Marvel Knights. So there probably won't be a volume 4 because that sort of gets outside of the Epic collections eras. I mean, there might be, but I doubt it.
I don't know. It depends on what they... maybe like the Punisher, collecting a bunch of little mini-series leading... But I don't know. I don't know what else there would be besides a bunch of Marvel Comics Presents and guest starring.
Yeah, because
he kind of disappeared for a while.
He did. Yeah, and it wasn't until the relaunch for Marvel Knights where they really brought him back into the fold. There wouldn't really be anything else to collect except for the random appearances, which they could do.
But
maybe they will. I don't know.
But is that really epic though? Like, I would think that's more of a... I don't know. I think I'm getting way too ahead of myself, thinking like the collected editions department having this conversation. Bullcrap! That's more of a complete collection instead of an epic.
Yeah. Okay. Should we keep going?
Absolutely.
Okay. I mentioned that we had some more X titles to talk about.
Can I do this one?
Okay. Yes, you may.
Thank you. I am very happy to announce this one because this is one of my favorite X titles, and we've had a volume 1 out there forever, and then we had some volume 7 and 8, I believe, is what came out, and now we're getting a volume 2, and that is X Factor. Volume 2 is coming out. Yes, closer to an omnibus one day, but whatever. Let's rejoice with the fact that we're getting X Factor Volume 2. This is a really good question. I answered this earlier. Can you show covers? I don't have any of them. We literally just have a list. They're still working on the catalog. So that's why it's kind of like breaking news, right? Because we literally just got the list, and that's what Marvel was kind enough to send it to us.
In fact, we don't even have a title for this Epic collection. They only told us X Factor Volume 2. We don't know anything else about it.
So Volume 2, I assume, would happen right after the events of Volume 1. So issues 10. So we're looking at Mutant Massacre.
Yep.
And kind of a prelude to the Fall of the Mutants.
I would imagine they'd cap it before Fall of Mutants.
So, oh, man, if they do that, I'm just trying to think of what they could call it that's not Mutant
It's not Mutant
Massacre,
Massacre.
right? Because Mutant Massacre
Yeah.
really, it's not like Executioner Song or it's not like Extinction Agenda. It's its own thing. Like each of the teams were doing its own thing.
Yeah.
So
this volume would have the Thor issues and the Power Pack issue.
Power Pack issues, the Thor issues, annual. And then the one of my favorite issues 15. If you've never read it, that's one of the most powerful issues that Louise Simonson wrote with Walter Simonson on art. And I'm
Yep.
not going to give away what happens. Like I've learned through this channel, I apparently cannot talk about stories, no matter how old they are, because people get pissed, man. Oh, all right, whatever. I'll shut up about a story that happened 45 years ago. But you know what? I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So there you go.
Yep. Well, there are people who are always experiencing this stuff for the first time. That's the case.
Yeah, and
That's
I
the
would
way it
hate
is.
to ruin that for somebody. So I just play it safe, and I'm like, this is when I do my overview of books, I literally just look at the pretty pictures because I can't. And as much as I want to talk about it, I'm like, I really want to dive in there and talk about this stuff. But anyway, there we have it. X Factor Volume 2. We don't know the contents yet, but we can assume it will go probably 10 through 23 an annual. The Thor issues, the Power Pack issue, and
There's a Hulk crossover. Like they appeared fighting the Hulk.
337, I think. Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right. So
and maybe even an issue of Mephisto versus, because one of those issues was Mephisto versus X Factor, I think. So that could be in there too. It's around this time.
See, this man knows what I'm talking about. One day we'll get that. You know what I want, dude? Since they have like all these X Factor issues collected in omnibus format, just about, I would like to have a Judgment War oversized hardcover to make it a nice little gap filler, even though no one's going to buy it because that's no one talks about that story. It's not that great, but I don't care. I don't care. Thank you so much, Craig. Much love back to you, man. So since I got to announce that one, Kurtis, why don't you do the honors of doing the next one?
Sure. So someone on the stream here was asking about some previously uncollected material, and we're going to get to that in just a sec because we've got a few books here that are going to have previously uncollected material. But first of all, I just want to say that we're going to get another Avengers Epic Collection this year.
Oh, I'm excited about this one too.
So this one is called Heavy Metal, Avengers Heavy Metal.
Yes.
Which means, yeah, go ahead, you say it. Oh no, he froze up on us again. Omar, you got to do something about this. Okay, so I'll say that Heavy Metal is the period following Judgment Day. We've got 2 epic collections that were the Roger Stern era, and then we spent a lot of time working through the Bob Harris run, and so now we're going to jump back and get some more Roger Stern. It's the tail end of Roger Stern with Ralph Macchio, who took up after Stern. Omar, you're back. You froze up for a little while there.
Yeah, I know. That was God's way of shutting me up to let you do the talking about Roger Stern. I wasn't going to steal your thunder because we're both like trying to dive in there and talk about the books. But yeah, go ahead.
What do you want to say about it? What do you want to say about it?
I even though I froze up, I could still hear you, so you got it covered. It is the Roger Stern era. This was available in trade paperback before, but now we're going to get it in big, thick trades. Hopefully, I would love, Roger Stern's up there in top 5 favorite Avenger runs. So I think to me, I would love an omnibus, but this is another way of getting it. So he's been shown a lot of love in these trade paperbacks. Like just about his entire run has been collected in big, fat trades. So
except for Spider-Man, you still got to get on that.
What are we doing? What
Roger
I got to get
Stern.
up? Oh, you mean an Epic Collection Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the Omni.
Oh, no. The Omni's, the Omni's there. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to guess that this Epic Collection is going to go up to 304, and that would butt it up really nicely up against Avengers by John Byrne Omnibus. Because the Omnibus collects that small run that he had.
Right, when he was writing West Coast, too.
Yeah.
So you're right. Actually, that's a really good mapping. I didn't think about that. I just knew that it was those issues right there that I had collected in a trade paperback. So
Yep, but I think there's definitely room for some more, and it'll probably take us all the way up to 304.
I do have a question. Is there any Roger Stern Spider-Man epics? I don't think so, right?
Not yet. Nope,
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully
I
soon.
can tell you right now that we're not announcing any Roger Stern Epic Collections, any Spider-Man Roger Stern Epic Collections in this stream today.
Yeah, sorry guys. And I'm sorry
Yeah,
if your
sorry.
book is not on this list either. Don't shoot the messengers. We're just two dudes like you all that love these books way too much.
Yep. Okay, you want to do the next one?
Yes. Oh my gosh, we do have 300 people watching live. Thank you all so much.
Woohoo!
So please hit that like button. Tell your friends, tell your mom, your parents. Yes, I will do the next one. I'm glad. By the way, the sales of epics have gone up. I know Kurtis can tell you this. Like
Yep, they
when
really
I
have.
first started getting epics, like when they first came out, it was kind of iffy if they were going to continue. And now they've just blown up. The things can't stay in print. Like I remember announcing a year ago or a little over a year ago the ones that are out of print. And I had a list of like 7. Now my list is like 15, and I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
it's
gone up
really
a
exploded.
lot more.
And as thanks to everybody who's watching this, we're all going to buy all of these, and then they will need to up their print runs or do more reprints and stuff. But yeah, it's been going great, and I'm happy because that means that there's actually a viable possibility that we'll get all 25 volumes of Captain America. Like I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. We all remember how much we got burned with the Essentials, right? They just stopped that one.
I literally burnt mine. I hated those things. These books are meant to be told in color. All right. So
anyway, speaking of Captain
Avengers
America
and Captain America. Good segue.
Yeah. What do you want to say about this one, Omar?
Well, all we have is a title. It's Captain America Epic Collection Monsters and Men. And I think I looked at I actually did my homework on this one because I wasn't familiar with that title. It was a J.M. DeMatteis story that he wrote in Captain America 279. Is that what you came up with?
Yep.
Okay, so cool.
I'm pretty sure that this is going to be volume 10. That means.
Right. So does that line up against any of the other caps that we have?
Yeah. So it comes right after Dawn's Early Light.
Okay. So
it's
right after.
Yep, it's before. This is uncollected material. This is the J.M. DeMatteis run has not been collected before, so this is That's great huge. Volume because this is stuff that people have been asking for a long time.
There is a. Okay, why is
people keep asking for Generation X?
Because last year was the 25th anniversary of Gen X.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I did a lot of interviews on my podcast, and I want it too. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm sorry to say we're not introducing any new Epic Collection lines in this stream as well.
Look, now we're down to 50 people watching live. Thanks, Kurtis. I'm kidding. So yes, Captain America is gonna get a Epic Collection Volume 10. That's awesome because then we need Volume 11. I love that these are just scatter about. They're releasing them, and whatever comes out comes out. Yep. The Man Wolf collection or the Cap Wolf collection, I think that one comes out
this year,
March. I think it's in March or next month.
In a little while, remember.
Yeah. So, dude, there are so many people that want Gen X. Believe me. Believe me, it's one of my most wanted omnis too. I'd love to have Gen X.
Lots of people are asking for it. Yeah. I mean, only part of it is stellar. The rest of it gets a little mediocre, but I have huge nostalgia for it. And you know what? It's uncollected. Marvel wants to collect everything, so they'll get around to it eventually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, 75 issues. They could do it in 2 omnis.
Yep.
Okay. Moving
on. Three more books to announce.
3 more books. And Kurtis is very excited about the next 3.
I'm really excited because I absolutely loved Doctor Strange Volume 3 in a separate reality. I loved it. It was fantastic. Steve Englehart and Frank Brunner it was really, really great. And I really wanted to read Volume 4, but they kept on jumping around from these different eras of Doctor Strange all over the place.
Yep.
But now we're getting Volume 4. Doctor Strange Volume 4, finally, after all this time. and I'm super excited about it.
Alone Against Eternity.
So this probably, my guess is it'll take us up to maybe around issue number 26 or so. I think that's the end of Englehart's run, and then Jim Starlin did a little bit in there. And I think they'll put that all into one book, and then it'll stop right before Roger Stern starts his run on this title here. It'll also have the Tomb of Dracula crossover.
And I want to say that they've done a volume 1, right? And they didn't do it. Did they do a volume? They haven't done a volume 2 yet.
They haven't done volume 2 yet.
Right. So they've skipped a volume 3. Yeah, this is one that they do skip a lot. It's not done in chronological order.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this one. That's the way I've been collecting them, as I passed up on the Omnis. So I'm excited to get this one as well. And I need to find it. Was it volume 7? Is that the one that's out of print?
Volume 7. I don't think there are any Doctor Strange volumes out of print at the moment, except for maybe volume 1.
Oh, I don't know, Kurtis. I think there's another one that's out of print, but we'll talk about that after the show.
I'll have to consult my own list that I have in my Epic Collection group here.
I don't know you have a list. Okay, so there we have Doctor Strange. What's left? Let me see so we can announce them together.
I had somebody. There was somebody on the on my Facebook page who was saying that he would really love to see 2 Hulk Epic collections in the last quarter, because they usually do an old one and a new one. And he even said, I would really love it if they, I don't know, didn't continue with the PAD stuff and then, jump back and did that little bit that bridges the gap between the Mantlo trades and the beginning of the Peter David run. Like, that would be a perfect epic size volume right there,
That guy got his wish.
He sure did. Epic Collection, the Incredible Hulk Epic Collection number, what is it? We think it's number, they said it's number 15.
That's all we know. We don't have a title.
That's right. But it has to be like right before Peter David. That's how roughly the mapping really works out.
I'm thinking those issues that were not in the omnibus that people were like, well, what about, this is the tail end of a story. So there we go. It is Epic Collection Volume 15. So it probably lines up perfectly with that omnibus.
I would say so. Probably 314 to 330. This is Al Milgrom and John Byrne. This is great because I think as far as I think it's 320 to 330. Those 10 issues are uncollected material, right? So this is good stuff. This is a gap filler for a lot of people.
So we have the Byrne run, Al Milgrom stuff, and then finishing it off, into Peter David's story. So we have one more. Remember, we didn't come up with this list. This is just what Marvel sent us. Okay.
There are going to be a group of people who are going to be disappointed with this last. This is our last announcement right here, and reason why is because this material has been collected a bunch of times. It's like one of Marvel's most popular stories. But it's not in an epic form yet. And so I'm really excited about this because I don't have this collected in anything yet. And I'm really looking forward to this. And also, it's actually a pretty significant anniversary for this story. It's 2020 is the 40th anniversary of this story. Did you know that?
I do, because they remind me with all the variant covers. And I feel old. And I was like, holy crap. Yeah. Wow, somebody gets a no prize in the chat. Look at that.
Yep, Chris Ashford. This is, so we have the title here, Epic X-Men, The Fate of the Phoenix.
So we're thinking it's the Dark Phoenix saga, because the Proteus stuff, did that last all the way to 128?
Yeah, 128.
Okay. So then this begins the Phoenix Saga 129 all the way, I assume, to the end of John Byrne's run. 140.
It could, but
it includes the annuals too. Never mind.
I would think that they're going to push Days of Future Past into the next volume, and so they'll probably they might stop it at 140 and then stick in a bunch of if you look at the Omnis, there's stuff like Marvel Fanfare, Marvel Treasury Edition, Bizarre Adventures, Phoenix Untold Story. There's a lot of material that can go in this specific volume here. So I bet they'll load it up with that and stop right before Days of Future Past.
So that is the list that we have. I'm sorry if one of your characters didn't make it, or your title that you were looking for. No love for Spidey. Yeah, I'm gonna hear that a lot when I see the
Well,
comments.
we
I was
still got
getting a
two
lot of
volumes.
that when
We got
we
two
got
volumes in 2020 already, so it's
right,
not a surprise that we're not getting any more Spider-Man.
right, and
Um, I gave you a big. So here's what's missing in 2020. We are not getting a Marvel 2-in-1 volume. We're not getting Sergeant Fury. We're not getting Power Man and Iron Fist. We're not getting Ant-Man Volume 2. Come on, Marvel, Ant-Man Volume 2. We're not getting Moon Knight.
literally, Ryan just said that.
Yeah, right. The biggest
Suck.
disappointment here for me is that we're not getting a Defenders volume in 2020. It has been a consistent one epic a year since the line started, and we're
No,
not getting one this year.
we got 2 epics last year.
No, we didn't. We got they've been in the
Really?
December months of the past 2 years.
I really thought we got 2 last year. We got 2 new defenders, and we got the. Okay, I could be
So
wrong.
I gave you an image that I wanted to share with everybody. Do you have that? Do you think you could throw that up for me?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. Let me do a share.
This is the spreadsheet that I've made that has.
What's up? I love this guy. He calls me a boomer. Thank you, Magic the Krakening. Let me pull up this spreadsheet really quick that Kurtis gave me. It's his secret aluminum foil Illuminati.
So this is a spreadsheet I've made to track which volumes have come out in which years. I hope you can see it. It's a little small. You might want to maximize your screen or something, but you can see.
Is that good right there?
This is good for me. You can see this is organized by column and the rows are each the months, and you can see here in 2017 or 2016 is when the Defenders stuff started. So in August of August of 2016, you can see the box with the D in it.
How do you keep up with? Okay.
Well, I started this spreadsheet back in 2015, so I've just been adding them as they come in.
So you remember? I love the colors, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so you can see the Defender slot in 2016, 2017, and then in 2018, and then in 2019, Defenders moved down to December. It got pushed by a couple of months. And so I'm guessing that we'll probably get a Defenders volume really early 2021. They've just had to push it again. So that means that we get a full year that doesn't have one, unfortunately, but my guess is that we'll get it. And they'll probably loop back to volume 1, I would imagine, because the Masterworks are kind of covering the territory in the middle there right now.
Yeah.
Right?
So one of the things that I saw in the chat earlier is about the reprints, right? So we announced earlier that they didn't give us a list of reprints, but we know reprints are going to happen, and also that they mentioned before that all number 1s are going to be evergreen. They would like to keep them as evergreen. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, it'd be good. The other thing I wanted to note in here is that we're only getting 1 Daredevil volume in 2020, and we're also only going to get 1 Fantastic Four volume in 2020. Last year, we only got 1 Thor and 1 Captain America, so I don't know if they're doing a thing where they're kind of spacing out their long-running releases a little bit.
This is your fault, Kurtis. David said we're going to call Conan Complete Collections, and you were like, no, we got to call it Epic. That just moved Daredevil
Moved one
out
of the slots. Yep. I don't know. They already had plans for that stuff when it was a complete collection. So
true.
They I don't know what they're doing here, but that's what's going on. Anyway, I think this is a really good round. Oh, by the way, all of those in that bottom box there, that was only my placement of where I was guessing they were going to fall. We don't know when, like which months these Epic collections are going to come out. We'll find that out in a few weeks when the Hachette catalog comes out.
So you knew that we weren't going to get a Spider-Man one because they have had 2. What other things you said? The 2-in-1 is what shocked you more than anything, and Defenders?
Defenders shocked me the most because it's been 1 a year so far, and we didn't get it this year.
Damn it, Kurtis! I'm looking on the internet. Could have sworn Defenders had 2 last year.
No, it wasn't. The new Defenders was the December or the August the year before. And Marvel 2-in-1, though, it's now been 3 years since we got Marvel 2-in-1 Volume 1. There was a 3-year gap between Power Man and Iron Fist Volume 2 and 3. There was a 3-year gap between Moon Knight Volume 2 and Volume 3. So there's could be a 3-year gap between Marvel 2 and 1, Volume 1 and 2. I don't know if these smaller titles are just being spaced apart that much. I don't know why, but that seems to be what's going on here.
Okay.
I don't know. But that's it. Those are our announcements.
Thanks, man. Bomar.
Ooh,
I like
Bomar.
that. The Omni Boomer. Oh, man. Okay. Omar, ask David when FF Hickman complete Volume 3. Sure. I'll add it to the list of questions that I have. I don't mind. Yeah.
I bet that'll come out early 2021 because Volume 2 is already out, right? Yeah, we might see that announcement in this quarter. Actually,
yeah,
we might see that announcement here.
I said earlier, this isn't all the complete collections, so I'm thinking we'll see it sometime in the fourth quarter. So keep that in mind.
I hope so. I've been getting those ones. They're great.
So what's the biggest gap in Marvel epics that you see? We're still talking 70s?
Yeah. So now most of the big lines is pull up. Oh no, I have a different spreadsheet for that. I've got a lot of spreadsheets.
Okay.
So now all of the Marvel long running titles, the ones that started in the 60s, they've all printed the 60s now. They're all running into the 70s. So any new volumes, except for Fantastic Four, because that one started earlier than everybody else. That one has some catching up to do.
There was one thing that I forgot to say was that David gave us a title, Daredevil Last Rites. Now, two things could have happened. I'm thinking it was A, though. That title had been moved to a date in the fourth quarter, or B, he accidentally sent me the wrong title for the Daredevil epic. So I don't know. Right? I mean, like if we're gonna get in conspiracy theories with spreadsheets and stuff, there very well could be a Daredevil epic in the fourth quarter, and he accidentally sent me the previous one. But more than likely, it's probably because Last Rites has been moved to the fourth quarter. So,
and it could be last time we did our announcements at the beginning of 2020, there was a surprise epic collection. The Maximum Carnage epic collection was announced, and that wasn't on our list.
That's right. And he didn't send it on our list, and he added it on there.
We could get some more surprises. We also didn't mention any Star Wars books or any Conan Chronicles volumes that would be coming out this quarter either. So those ones will be announced when the stuff starts rolling out here.
I think with Star Wars, it has to be approved by, I think the mouse has to approve it. Somebody has to approve it. That's other than David. So everything else, he gets to say, yeah, go ahead, send it. So keep that in mind. The Star Wars will probably be announced with the actual solicitations.
Otherwise, the biggest gap is Hulk. It has a huge gap between the classic volumes and this volume 15
right,
is now closing the gap a little bit. So hopefully we can get a few more.
It's like 10 volumes in between because you have the Bill Mantlo run. Oh man, that is quite a lot. But see, the Bill Mantlo run has been collected in those non-epic fat trades too.
Yep.
So that's probably why they're waiting on those.
It's true. Should we run down the list one last time for anybody who came in late?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. After I close all my windows, let's go ahead. Do it. You got it. Do you have it handy?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's do it.
Black Panther's Prey, which we're guessing is Volume 3. Captain America, Monsters and Men, which we're guessing is Volume 10. Master of Kung Fu, Traitors to the Crown, which we're guessing is Volume 3. Doctor Strange, Alone Against Eternity, which we're guessing is Volume 4. Incredible Hulk, Who Will Judge the Hulk, which we're guessing is Volume 5. Incredible Hulk 15, which is the Milgram Byrne era. X Factor Volume 2, the Mutant Massacre era. Avengers Heavy Metal, which we're guessing is Volume 18. Conan the Marvel Years Volume 2. X-Force Epic Collection Volume 3. X-Men The Fate of the Phoenix, which we're guessing is Volume 4. And then some complete collections. Thor, The Eternal Saga. Tomb of Dracula, Volume 4. Iron Man by Mike Grell. And Man-Thing by Steve Gerber, Complete Collection, Volume 3.
And that is all we have for Marvel so far. Here in a couple of in a week or so, I should have the complete uh, catalog before they send it over to the Hachette. And yeah, I look forward to looking over that. I'll be doing a live stream for that too, and looking at
Nice.
some books that they're adding. That will have the covers at least, and also the content of the books and the prices, which is important to a lot of people so they can budget. And that's one thing I love doing about these is like it's a good way to think ahead. Like, oh my gosh, we have 11 epics and 15 omnis. It's time to start thinking ahead. So
Yep.
all right, I'm sorry if you were let down by the list, but like I said before, we didn't make the list, so we just
I wasn't let down. I think this is some good gap fillers for uncollected material. There's popular stories that are being reprinted, and there's just a good variety of everything. So I'm happy with these. They're going to come out eventually. So if you thought that these were a bummer, then
yeah,
I can't help you out with that.
be patient. That's what I tell everybody. Volume 25, the highest they will be going. Well, as far as Fantastic Four, for sure, right? Because that ends the Onslaught stuff. That's what is that called?
The Strange Days. That one's called Strange Days.
Thank you. Yes, Strange Days. Captain America had one, which was the Mark Waid run.
Maximum Carnage is 25 as well. That's not necessarily the cap. We don't really know where they're going to stop. We also suspect that it's probably going to be the end of the Volume 1 titles, and if that takes you past Volume 25, then it will. So we'll have to see. We don't really know yet.
Right. So I guess there's only one way to find out. We just got to get there.
Yep.
Man, people are really excited about Man-Thing. Huh? That's awesome. I'm really happy.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you all very much for joining us for this live episode. If you didn't join live and you watched it afterwards, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We can be found on Patreon and Redbubble. And let's see what else is there. This episode was brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com. Check them out. They have prices 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% off on your favorite collected editions. And that's if you live in America. If you tell them that Near Mint Condition sent you their way, they will give you a free shipping code for your next order. And my friend Kurtis, where can people find you when you're not hanging out with me in conspiracy theories with Epic Collections?
Well, I am always on the Epic Collection Facebook group. I love talking to people there. We have a great group now. It's well over 500 because a bunch of you signed up, so that's really nice. I haven't approved any of you yet. I'll do that as soon as I stop this video. And then you can search me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Just look for the Epic Marvel Podcast, and you'll find me there. And yeah, listen to my podcast. We just review the Epic Collections and some other stuff.
Awesome. And I will be here tomorrow and every day, as long as I can, making videos. So thank you very much. Thank you again to David Gabriel from Marvel for giving us this early access to this stuff, because this is a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, everyone. And you all know, if it's classy and cool, must be Near Mint.